Hey everybody, it's Aluna Michaels, Esoteric Astrologer, coming at you to talk about March of 2020, different astrological events. Sorry, it's a little late, my Mercury retrograde stories. I'm sure we all have them. And starting out on that note, Mercury will be going forward. Yay! It's going to be the 9th and 10th, basically, Monday and Tuesday. Mercury goes forward. And so it's direct, and then we know the story that it catches up with itself, right? And that will be on the 29th of March. So that means at that point, Mercury will go over forward what it did retrograde, and then it really unravels a whole lot of things along those few weeks, and then into April, it's a lot of fresh Mercury energy. So Mercury's been retrograde in Pisces, which can be a lot of old fears, a lot of old worries. But one of the things with Pisces is that it has so much inner strength based in faith and sort of inner vision and through connecting spiritually, feeling like you have more power than you know. It can even be remembering talents or just different ideas you have. It's like, oh yeah, I have those resources, you know? So Pisces itself is that way, and so is Mercury retrograde. So even more like remembering these resources you have and then starting to use them, especially as the different planets go into Aries. You know, the sun goes into Aries on the 20th, 21st of March. Even Mercury goes into Aries in mid-April, around the 10th of April. So there's a sense of gathering up what you forgot about, sort of mastering, conquering, overcoming fears, and like coming back stronger than ever and getting things done, making better, real choices that are guided inwardly and then taking the actions outwardly. So it's a nice refresher when that's happening. Now, as Mercury goes direct, we have a full moon. And one of the other things about this Mercury retrograde is when Mercury did turn retrograde in February, it was near the planet Neptune. And Neptune is connected to Pisces, so it has that same story about spiritual strength, but like the weakness of your own little self kind of a thing. And so when Mercury was retrograding, again, that was even a third layer to it. It's retrograde, it's in Pisces, and then it's near Neptune, so it's that real tension point between fear and faith. Well, when we have this full moon, you know, the sun and moon are always opposite each other when we have a full moon. So Neptune will be near the sun, and then so it's sun and Neptune together opposing that moon in Virgo. And so again, it's like remembering not to worry, remembering to surrender worry to a deeper source of outcome, to pray for insight, to even ask for support from other people who know more than you, and kind of sit with those answers, and kind of this delicate balance between thinking about something but not overthinking it. You know, waiting for the answers, pondering the right move, but not freaking out, you know, that you're going to make a mistake, because that can be that moon in Virgo connected with all of this Mercury going direct. And, you know, part of the other thing can be just forgiving yourself. If you do make mistakes, if you had made mistakes, it's like, it's going to be okay. Like saying, I've just got to make choices and move forward and then adapt as I go, instead of like, I'm going to be wrong again, or when I was wrong, or, you know, that can be a part of the Mercury retrograde in Pisces too, like going over the past errors and beating yourself up kind of. But the other message of Pisces is self-compassion, or compassion for anybody, not just yourself. And that Virgo is so critical, but it also is nurturing. So finding that compassionate nurturing rather than scared, picky, critical, you know? So that balance between all those things, having right assessment, forgiving yourself, taking the right assessment, move forward. You know, try not to overthink things, which there can be a tendency to, right, as that Mercury's turning. It's a funny little tension point. But going out of it, it's like, I got this. You know, I should have done this before, you know? It was okay. So that happens, and if I didn't say the full moon is March 9, right, that's Monday, right, when Mercury is turning direct. So that all happens. Now, another kind of nice smoothness for March is that Venus is going into Taurus. It actually went in on the 5th of March and stays in till like the 4th of April. And Venus is about, you know, love and safety, especially when it's in Taurus, because Venus is connected to Taurus and Libra. Libra's more, you know, air sign, and ideas and things. But Taurus is very physical. So when Venus is in Taurus, its own sign there, it's like physical comfort. Taking a deep breath, relaxing, taking your time about, first of all, it can be, again, a sense of inner nourishment. Also, it's a real good financial time, and also the way Venus will be angling other planets I'll talk about. But just a feeling like you've got all you need. It doesn't have to be finances, but Venus is that. But also, again, the sense of resourcefulness that I've got so much at my disposal. I have great friends. I have a lovely home. Working with gratitude during this month can be wonderful too, to see what you really, really have. Like, like if they say stop and smell the roses, but like if you're looking at that rose and really seeing it and really noticing how beautiful it was, and then really smelling it and taking that into your senses, and touching the petal and seeing the bees go in, like really thoroughly connecting with what makes you joyous, and then it seems like there's even more richness coming out of that patient time spent with those things. That's part of Taurus, is the patience. So that idea of kind of dwelling on things that you love, and if it's meditation that way about people you love in your life, or your own qualities that are strengths you have, and again, embracing all of that in self-compassion, that things are flawed as well, and it's beautiful because it's flawed. That sort of thing can help. And Taurus really helps that, because Virgo's more the earth sign that's a little picky, and even Capricorn can be a little uptight. But Taurus is just kind of like, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful because it exists, and it's earthy and present, and all that. So as Venus moves through Taurus, it connects with Mars, which is in Capricorn, Jupiter, which is in Capricorn, and Pluto, which is in Capricorn. And so those kind of things, just even the Venus-Mars that happens, that's going to be like around the 22nd of March. That's Venus and Mars together, just nice. I mean, it's sexy, it's fun, it's lively. Talk about spring. I mean, it's really a springy energy. It's just playful and flirty and loving colors, and it's just excitement, so that's really nice, Mars, Venus. It's kind of a quick thing, but it's accentuated by Venus with Jupiter, which is even more kind of celebration of the life force and abundance. And then Venus to Pluto, Jupiter will be with Pluto too, but Venus, Pluto, it's sense that everything's all right in the world. I know there's been a lot of fears economically with things, talking about right now, talking coronavirus kind of stuff that's going on as I'm making this video, but I really think that there's such a sense of smoothness going on. I think things would turn around with all that, or at least you're feeling like, look at how much I do have, and feeling that opens up a sense of abundance from there. But I just think even globally things should be better. I'm not the global type of astrologer, I'm more personal, but so even the fact that Pluto and Jupiter are working together, and then Mars is going to be with them, so that all happens roughly, it's like the 22nd, again, after the sun goes into Aries and things are really springy, and Mars is the planet like Aries, so Mars is exciting, and Jupiter is abundant and open and exciting. Pluto can kind of go either way, but when it's paired with Mars and Jupiter, it's like that, the promise of abundance, and that's coming forward. And again, it's all about the sense of inner resources, and how much resources we all do have, and how much strengths we all have, and playing to those strengths, and really sitting in those, rather than how the Mercury retrograde could have made people feel, oh, my deficiencies, It's like, no, wait, I scrambled in there. Yeah, I get deficiencies. Here's my strengths. And now again, this whole theme of using those strengths, living in them, really noticing them more so they get stronger. So all of that is really flowing in after the 22nd of March. Now, there's something also about when Mars and Jupiter connect there around the 22nd, let's even say the 20th, 21st, 22nd. Remember in January, you probably do, we had the Saturn-Pluto conjunction with that eclipse. That was all like around 20 degrees of Capricorn. So Mars and Pluto, I think they do it at 22 degrees, but close enough that it's the same part of Capricorn, and kind of not just reactivates that point, but you can show where you're going with it, because Mars is so forward, where Saturn and Pluto are just kind of like, wow, here's these things I need to work on, or here's some blocks or whatever people went through then. But Mars is directive, and so is Jupiter, and they're both very hopeful. So I feel like there's things that you might have said, wow, I really need to make changes here in January. And now you're seeing how you have made the changes and they're paying off. And in fact, with this idea of spring, that the Mars and, I mean, Saturn and Pluto kind of were doing stuff all through 2019, and then they did that big thing in January of 20. But something's been going on for a while, and then you see, I've been working hard on myself for a long time. It wasn't just like dead ends. It's all been very profitable. It's been very I'm having these breakthroughs because I did all that work in 2019. And because it felt like, I think in January for a lot of people, everything I do comes to naught. But it's like, no, what I do does make sense. It does create a result, and here they are. So again, it's a very springtime. It's wonderful how these planets are doing that with the beginning of spring. I know I used to live in colder environments. It's like, spring? Really? It's like snowstorm. But just trust me, trust your soul that it's springtime and things are starting to, little crocuses are coming up somehow within you, even if you don't see them outside. So this idea is reaffirmed with the Mars, Jupiter, and Pluto around the 20th to 25th. Let's kind of throw that in March. We also have a new moon at that time in March, and it's, of course, in Aries, and so we got Sun and Moon together because it's a new moon, and then also Chiron is there. And Chiron, I've mentioned it before, that it's a planetoid, they call it. They think it might be a comet that got caught in our solar system, and it has about a 49, 50-year orbit. It's between Saturn and Uranus, but it's a healer. And so there's a sense of healing the actions we take, that it's in Aries, that it's the Sun and Moon, the emotions and your own emotional reactivity, but having kind of kindness there. But it's also a sense of renewed enthusiasm, because Aries is so enthusiastic, not just reactive. And Chiron is sort of saying it's okay to be hopeful, and especially that Mars, Jupiter, Pluto, it's like, and like, again, things you do matter. Things you do created a result. And so it's another buoying, and not even just buoying, it's buoying and then whee, like flying out and up, So that's also lovely, that's happening. The other thing to cover is Saturn moving into Aquarius. For a little bit, Saturn pops into Aquarius on the 21st of March. It's going to stay in Aquarius. It only just goes up to 1 degree, just kind of peeking in there. And then July 2nd, it comes out of Aquarius, goes back into Capricorn, but then mid-December, like December 15, goes back into Aquarius for good. Well, for 2.5 years. So that's kind of interesting. I think that also takes some weight off all this Capricorn stuff, the Saturn, Pluto, and Capricorn are so heavy. And it gives because Aquarius is so hopeful and forward thinking. So I think it adds that breath of fresh air in a way. I don't think of Capricorn as fresh air necessarily, but Aquarius says, we're building for a future. We are, and it's working. And so I think that also, ingress we call it, when the planet changes signs, is also going to add to the sense of hopefulness. So that's also really great. So if you want to get a reading from me, please contact me, alunamichaels.com or aluna3366@gmail, or you can text me or call me at 248-583-1663. Also have my little book on Amazon Kindle. You can get it from me as a PDF, The Spiritual Gifts of the 12 Astrological Signs. And again, anything you need from me, personal reading, whatever, you let me know. And I'll see you next month, and bye-bye for now.